Monogamy is revolutionary, fam.
Oh, word? That's where you want to take it?
It's revolutionary.
Why is monogamy revolutionary?
It is a choice. It is to go against the grain of feeling like you have to.
It's an aberration of what you mean.
Because there's gluttony in you know what I'm saying, wanting or desiring multiple partners. All right, where there's an abundance in that, and like I'm not knocking y'all if y'all choose to have multiple. And I'm saying from my perspective, and from what you were just saying, then we would say that to be true. But that was just a throw. I just threw that in there.
I appreciate that. I love that you said it's revolutionary. It is. It's also an aberration.
It's a what?
Aberration, anomaly. That's been forced upon us.
Monogamy? Yes, I agree.
Because they give you tax credits and tax breaks and all this and blah, blah, blah.
However, I still think, I'm old school because everybody today don't want monogamous relationships. I'm not saying get married and adopt these conventional or like societal ways and, abide by the structures and the contracts. I'm not saying that that's, for a long time, that is what I wanted, right? That's how I saw my life to be. Mm-hmm. I'm a very family-oriented person, Cancer gang, so I'm very, nurture, homebody, want to build family and life with that. But like as I go through this life thing and I become more spiritually connected with self and the divine and my, I am adopting, right, fluidity in terms of like being more open and expansive to new ways of existing in relationships, existing in partnerships, existing, so like, am I still a monogamous person in terms of like commitment and dedication and wanting to build? I want to build with someone, with a person, and build a life with someone. Does that mean that it has to be confined by the rules of what we think relationships are, which is why everybody's trying to fight out of them? Because with that concept is like, well, it has to look like this, and you can't do that. You can't talk to that man, and you can't talk to that man, and you can't look at them too long. You're hugging them too much. You're buying them too many gifts, and it's coming off as you wanting to, be more than like. There's just a lot of weird things that come around like relationships that people are like, fuck it, I'm gonna just be polyamorous, or I'm gonna just have an open relationship, because there's no expectations when you say, or there are, but people think that there are no expectations when you say we have an open relationship. That means I can go fuck off and do whatever the fuck I want, and you're still gonna be here.
So monogamy, the fact that I say that monogamy is an aberration doesn't mean that the relationships I have, I'm not accountable within those relationships. Like, that's the entire point. The reason I say monogamy is an aberration is because nobody wants to be accountable. So if you, no matter what it is, if you're gonna say, hey, I don't want you to be with nobody else, and blah blah blah, and these are my concerns, this is my list of concerns, then you also have to listen to the list of concerns from the other person.
But is that toxic to tell somebody? These days, I feel like you'll be looked at crazy if you told somebody, I don't want you to be with anybody else.
Really?
That's looked at as possessive these days.
No, it's not. It's not that.
People call that possessiveness. So you can't control, controlling.
It is possessive and it is controlling. It is. It's both of those things.
So that would be deemed as a toxic relationship because there's an expectation, or like
I think
there's an ask.
So let.
It's not that just because you ask that.
Well, the word,
toxic.
the question itself could come off as.
I think that I think that sometimes monogamy is used as a concept in order to try to control the behavior of another person. Mm-hmm. And this is why I think that monogamy as a concept is flawed, right? Mm. If two people are making a choice,
say that,
to be together in a specific way,
hallelujah, Jesus,
under a specific agreement, terms, whatever, right?
Praise him.
And they can abide by those terms, or even, okay, let's say the terms are violated and they can negotiate and be like, yo, you violated the terms, but I really still want to see if we can make this work. How can we heal this? How can we cure this? And all of that communication is open and honest, even if it's just like, yo, like we had an agreement to be monogamous, but now I'm having these other urges and thoughts, and can we talk about it, and et cetera, right? But as a concept, what has traditionally happened is we all say to be monogamous is the only moral choice, right? Which then means
That
people
part.
have no flexibility to work it out for themselves.
That part.
It also means that, like, if people have other urgings, leanings, feelings, ideas, thoughts, whatever, you can't even share the thought that maybe
part.
I'm not into monogamy
That
because
part.
you're being immoral by even sharing the idea, right? So
yeah.
now we're living in a time where people are more open, people are having more discussions about these things. And because monogamy has been the standard, you have a lot of people who want to challenge the standard because, well, maybe the standard wasn't that healthy. And, oh, my dad did this or my mom did this and they call themselves monogamous, but, you know, they were sleeping around, or my dad cheated on my mom, or my mom cheated on my dad, or they cheated on each other, or blah, blah, this, that, the other, right? And this concept of, like, open relationships is not new. Polyamory is not new. Polygamy is not new, right? Like, none of that stuff is new. It's all throughout human history, and not just distant human history, recent human history, right? And so this idea that we can't even have a discussion about it, or that wanting to be monogamous, wanting to be in a one-on-one sexually intimate relationship with someone is somehow toxic, to me is not a good or genuine or forthright starting point for a conversation. But some of the behavior that people engage in around the idea of enforcing monogamy, which
That's
I think
what
is
I'm talking
which
about.
I think is crazy.
I like the distinction
right?
you're making.
Like, because if you want to be in a relationship with someone
I like the distinction you're making.
and you're like, I want us to be in a monogamous relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, I want us to be in a monogamous relationship, and then something changes and that person or you are no longer satisfied sexually, emotionally, whatever it is, and start looking outside the relationship for satisfaction, rather than sitting down with each other and being like, hey, man, like, I feel like we have a pretty good arrangement here. You know, we cohabitate, we got these kids together, we this, that, the other, blah, blah, but I'm feeling sexually frustrated or emotionally unfulfilled or this, that, the other, blah, blah, and I feel like I need some other things. What can we figure out? You know? Instead, people are like, well, can't really talk about this with my partner because we have this ironclad agreement that can't be renegotiated.
That's exactly
I'm
what
gonna go and make sure that they don't find out
that's
what
the
I'm
pre-work.
doing because
See,
they wouldn't. And I
that's
feel
the
like
most- That's the
I feel like
pre-work.
it is. I feel like it is the violation there is being unclear about what it is that you're feeling, about what it is that you're going through with this person that is supposed to be your number one for the rest of your life, right? Like, that's a clear sign that that relationship is falling apart. Can relationships be saved? Absolutely. Can things be renegotiated? Absolutely. Can people pivot and bring stuff back from the brink? Absolutely. Can people do any of those things without clear and open communication? I'm gonna say no.
I agree.
Yeah, but the what you just said was very, very loaded because there are because each of these words, like, they have their dictionary definition,
Sure.
and then they have their societal definition. You know what I mean? And then so I think that is a very important thing to recognize is like, yes, is it dope to know and trust that your partner's with you, and you know, all of us would love that because that's what we've been trained to love. You know what I'm saying? And but the attachment, to me, where it goes, I'm not saying that it's wrong. I've had a few monogamous relationships that helped. You know, it's good to work with somebody. Like, my daughter is an example of it. Me and her mother didn't stay together forever, but when we were together, even though we had some troubles and trials, the fact that we were working together is what produced this child.
Like, do y'all get
You know what I'm
bored
saying?
in relationships?
No, but what
Let him finish his point first. I'll answer your question. Go ahead.
yes. But but the thing that I think is crucial is the morality implication, because that is a societal thing. Like that is like buying into like you know what I'm saying? Like when we're attaching morality to these things, then that's where it becomes really, really sketchy for me.
Yeah, so I think that some people do get bored in relationships, but I think that sometimes boredom is not the reason why people seek to or want to or feel they have to have sex with other people. I do think that it's interesting that you say, I've been in several monogamous relationships, because to say I've been in several of something that is a one is it shows how much of a mind fuck this is, right? Because like, you know, this idea that like I can be monogamous with this person and now we've stopped. And now I'm going to go be monogamous with somebody else and now we've stopped. And now I'm going to go be monogamous with somebody else.
Yes, but to me that commitment
dictionary,
to me the commitment to
by dictionary definition, that's actually polyamory. The commitment.
Not if they're not running concurrent at the same time.
It doesn't matter if they're running concurrent though, because
why?
Because
you have a contract or an agreement that is that is dissolved.
But
you begin a new contract somewhere else, or they run back to back, or there's several of them happening.
But to me, what does concurrent mean?
Well, polyamory is happening all at the same time.
Right, but listen, check it. If you're with somebody, and then you guys are no longer together.
Hey, yo, and all the polyamory folks out there, right? It's opinions, because nobody on here has said out loud or admitted or has identified as being poly. So all of these are opinions and perspectives. I am not a polyamorous person right now in this particular moment. I'm somewhere between. However,
whoa,
if you are a polyamorous person,
no, we're not gonna just slide by.
I'll come back to it. But if you are a polyamorous person out there in the world that identifies it, that works it into your life, and it's healthy and it works, please come up here and have a conversation with us to give us real knowledge about your experience. Because right now,
I feel like the thing that you're talking about is being in a polycule, right? Which is like, okay, some people, that's how they do polyamory, that's how they get down, right? So, but for example, right? Let's say somebody is in a monogamous relationship with X, and then X becomes their ex, right? And now they're in a monogamous relationship with Y, and now Y becomes their ex, and now they're back with X. And then X becomes their ex again, and now they're back with Y. Like, to me, that's not the clean lines of...
That's way different. You moving the goalposts.
I'm not, though.
You are.
This was the original point that I was making.
No, but that's what I was going to say. So I think it's actually a very good point, because no matter what, if you decide for this 6 months that you're not going to sleep with anyone else, but you're just sleeping with this person, you're still sleeping with every person that they slept with before you.
That's also something completely different. And you're talking from the perspective, it is, because you first initially started by saying, if you have relationships or you've been in multiple monogamous relationships, right? Mm-hmm. You're also someone that says you never double back, right? So if you've had multiple monogamous relationships, so you're going, okay, this didn't work, I'm gonna go here. This didn't work. To me, you should be leveling up, right? So if you're going and you're going to the next and you're going to the next, I'm not looking at you as saying, well, you're gonna go back to X if you've moved on to Y, because you're a person that says, once I'm on Y, I'm not going back to X. So to me, I don't see where the correlation is to polyamory if you've moved on from the relationship. Now, if you're someone that does go back to their ex and circle the block and all that extra, then I get it. Like, yes, you should be more open to the idea of like that being poly. But if you're coming from a perspective of I don't circle back, I don't go back to X, and I'm just talking from the perspective of going forward to me, that's not, maybe I'm wrong, I'm just saying it's my opinion. To me, I don't identify that as being poly. You're still independently choosing to be with one person at that particular point in time.
Right, but I guess
I don't know the nature of your personal contracts. I'm saying in general, if we're talking...
The only point that I was making is that whether or not you are sleeping with multiple people while you're sleeping with one person, or you decide that you're just going to sleep with this one person.
Intimacy is also not just sex, though.
It certainly is not. But I thought that we were talking about sexual relationships when we were talking about monogamy. But if we were not talking
then we
about
can
that,
get into what do you consider cheating, because I could consider cheating without it being sexual.
Well, that is, my mind just exploded.
This is part of the reason why I say that monogamy, the way that it is currently defined for a lot of people, is way too confusing to really work for most people.
But that's why I agree with the conversations that we have about, or just in general, when you're like, well, what does our dynamic look like, and that fit for how we choose to exist in this relationship,
right. But
as
people can't
opposed
do
to
that.
signing on to the dotted line of what is
that's
already
what I'm
structured.
saying.
But also particularly because I believe, just like you said, the intimacy is not just sexual, right? So if I would not elect to be in a relationship with someone who says, if you have emotional intimacy with someone else, I consider that a violation of our relationship.
That's fucking crazy.
Because
that's crazy.
I seek out emotional intimacy
That's
with other human
the
beings.
whole point of engaging with fucking people.
That's a
Love
core
is
tenet.
intimate as
That's
fuck.
a core tenet.
Yeah,
That's a core tenet of my humanity.
I love you to death.
Very intimately.
I love
you both very intimately.
And
Right.
it's not, and we've never even, it's never been anything
You're
sexual.
my fam, yeah.
Right.
But the fact that you exist should not threaten some relationship.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That shit is fucking crazy.
Again, right? Like for some people, their definition of monogamy is only having sex with one person in their entire life. And so what I'm saying is
that ain't
not for me. Not for me. I'm just saying for some people, right? Particularly people who take a very moralistic view of what monogamy means to them. So they would see someone who's been in several monogamous relationships, in this case, intimacy meaning sex, as someone who is not monogamous. That's all I'm saying. That's why I say it's mad confusing, right? Because it's like,
how can you moralize on that?
We don't even hold a singular definition of what this means.
That's the point.
Particularly in a society where like there's marriage and there's divorce and then there's common law marriage and then there's cohabitation and then there's hooking up and then there's this and there's that and there's the other, right?
Okay, so I guess we've had a conversation earlier in the podcast era, and it was about like when it was Kiki Lap. Maybe I'll throw it out there somewhere in the universe someday.
That would be great.
Like it was about being able to like cuddle with your friends.
Right.
So like even if like by definition, you're saying monogamy is like one person I'm gonna sleep with for the rest of my entire life.
Not my definition, but some people's definition, yes.
Okay, so then what?
Yeah.
But it's not
That's
an
the entire
uncommon
point.
it's not an uncommon definition.
That's the entire point. That's why this shit is fucked up, because
people aren't even coming at it with the same definition.
We're throwing these cliches around, we're throwing these words around, these words and these sayings and that people have said forever and ever, and we have no idea, especially anybody under 35, the fuck are you talking about right now? Like, what are you talking about? You're taking cliches and like melting them down. It doesn't work like that. Like, you have to actually have experience in your life and reflect your own experience instead of trying to take these little tidbits that somebody else said and
I want you to finish your point.
I just feel like this. I feel like, okay, if I'm in a relationship, right, with someone, and the agreement is that I'm exclusively dating this person, right, or in a relationship with this person, I'm not sleeping outside, right?
So
that's the commitment.
By dating, you mean exclusively having
to each other,
sex with that person, or exclusively having that? That's the definition, okay?
Right?
Exclusively having sex. Go ahead.
yes.
Now, it's gonna be weird to say it like this, but just they don't know us personally.
Don't be weird.
But like, me and you are very intimate. Me and you are very intimate, right? In some regards, but not intimate like you're not holding me and cuddling me on a couch, right? You're hugging me. You might uplift me. We might hold each other, but like we're not laying on a couch watching movies, cuddling, right?
Okay.
We're not fucking, but like if you were to Like, I wouldn't do that personally because, and I'm using this as an example because this was asked of me. Like, this was asked to, like, you know, get my perspective. And so I am curious, like, what is the line then, right, of respect to the person that you are committed to in terms of, we're not fucking, but could that create a boundary slip somewhere if you have someone in a friendship that you are intimate in that way? You may not be fucking, but like, we're holding each other. We're being intimate in ways that build like other feelings and emotions, in my perspective, in my opinion. Like, it just, I'm just not, I don't know. I'm gauging because I know that I'm boxed in a lot of the way that I think about things, and I'm trying to undo that.
I definitely hear you. One, I don't think that developing feelings or having feelings is something that can be avoided. It is something that can be suppressed. But whenever you suppress your feelings, they have a tendency. Choices, though. They have a tendency to come out in other ways.
There's choices.
I do think that your choices are in your actions, right?
If I know that you are attracted to me and feel for me in a way that's outside of my friendship, but we're just defining this as a friendship, and I come to your house and I say, oh, I just need a friend, and we're cuddling and we're watching Netflix and we're doing the thing, to me, that's a violation, bro. To me, it is.
I hear
because the intention, I know that saying. You're looking at me with more than just friends. If you're my brother, if something ever tragically happened in my life that I needed a friend, I know I could feel safe if I came to your house and was like, yo, bro, can you just hold me? I know that I would feel safe in that shit.
Right.
Period. So I'm not saying it's a violation to hold me. I'm saying that if I know that your view of me, or if I know that your view of me is intimate, it is not just, you're my dog, you're my friend.
But
I find you attractive. I find there's different, like, to me, that's different. And if I know someone's attracted to me,
anybody that you call a friend, I mean, unless you're not friending right, like, anybody you call a friend, you have an intimate relationship with.
Yes, and I'm saying that, like, there's a difference between knowing that someone is attracted to me and has feelings for me outside of friendship, for me to go to their house, get in their bed, lay on their couch, knowing how they feel about me, even if my feelings aren't the same for them, and I really just want to be held. To me, doing that opens the door or invites.
So I just want to know, you keep saying it's a violation. Are you saying this is a violation of...
I'm saying if you choose, if you have
hold on. Are you saying it's a violation of a monogamous relationship that you have with someone else? Or a violation of the friendship? I just want to be clear on what you mean by it's a violation.
I'm saying I said that. I said of the contract that you have with the person that you're dating. We said that. We started at the beginning by saying...
I kind of lost the thread. We went back and forth a little bit. I just wanted to be clear. Yeah. So you're saying... Yeah, I mean... If your agreement with that person is that you're not going to get into those situations, then yeah, getting into those situations is a violation of what you agreed to.
And I only am bringing that up because we were talking about this idea of just sex being the thing that makes you poly, whereas I feel like if you're someone that has relationships where I'm cuddling and for just comfort or just because I need company, then yes, even though we're not having sex, I should be poly. I'm engaging with multiple people or other people that are outside of.
I mean, that's an interesting. That's an interesting.
That's crazy.
That's an interesting definition of poly.
So is poly defined as just under sex terms?
It's defined how people define it.
What
right?
the fuck?
I think that some people. No, hold on.
No,
I think that some people define it the way.
Problem.
Just let me finish. I think that some people define it exactly the way that you're saying, right? Like having those kind of intimate relationships with multiple people, to some folks, that's the definition of what it means to be polyamorous, right? So and also the idea that like relationships can be fluid is another thing that comes into it, right? So somebody who you're not physically intimate with on a regular basis, maybe one time you are or not, and that doesn't mean that now the entire nature of the relationship has changed. It's just something that happened between us, right? And so it's a very different perspective sometimes than monogamy, in the sense of yo, like, physical boundaries don't define what this relationship is. We define what this relationship is.
Yeah, man. You know what? We've been on this for a while. I want, like, go ahead. I won't cut you off. Go ahead.
I actually need to.
I really want to say fuck all this shit and, Well, I'll do that in a second then, because I'm gonna finish this.
Finish your thoughts.
I really just say fuck all this shit and like I'm gonna be somebody that believes that there's somebody left on the face of this earth. You know what I'm saying? That actually commits to something. I'm not saying it has to be under the terms of monogamy and polyamory or whatever these labels are, right? I look at partnership as partnership. I don't look at it like, oh, this is a monogamous relationship or a polyamorous relationship. Like this is a commitment that we have, or whatever that looks like.
Right.
And I just believe that there's somebody in the world that still fits. The idea that they would like to choose someone to build with. I'm not saying that shit don't change. I'm not saying, but I think that honesty is at the forefront of those types of relationships.
Yes.
It is like, okay, if that shifts or changes, then let me know that shifts or changes, and then how can we adapt or you know?
I hold out hope for that.
Me too. That's what, and everybody's like, well, you so monogamous in your frame of thought. There's something wrong with you. It's like,
no, I don't think something's wrong with you. I'm just saying I hold out hope for that. But I've experienced, with my experiences, with all of these multiple definitions of everything all the time, it's, you know, and people being unwilling to, you know, even the people that are saying they want to be monogamous don't have the ability to have honest conversations.
I just think people are full of shit, man. I do. I think people are full of shit. A lot of people. And nobody likes, like, back to the accountability thing of, like, you know, people don't like to be honest. People don't like to take accountability. People like to tiptoe and hide and fucking lie and fucking do weird shit because that's the nature of peopling. And that shit's nasty, and I don't like that shit. I don't, and I'm over it, and I really want there to be a life somewhere. Maybe it's a world that doesn't exist right now in this realm, but like, X. Hey yo,
Earth real, X and Earth 2.
Call me a hopeful romantic. Call me a what the fuck ever monogamous. I said earlier about I'm in between, but if you gonna make me choose, I'm somewhere in between because I do understand that like I am very intimate with
You're polyamorous.
Multiple. I believe so, but like I also
I love you.
I do agree. However, I don't identify as such because I don't operate in polyamory in a way that I feel is healthy or active or like I'm not practicing. Like I don't have multiple partners. I don't have, you know, there are multiple people that I am intimate with, but there aren't multiple commitments. Like I don't have those. So like it's very fluid in the ways that I engage with people. Fluid. Yeah. You know, which is beautiful because I like rocking like that. I mean, I've been single for 3 years. That doesn't mean that I have not been engaging in intimacy with people, you know, with people. But it's been 3 years since I've been it's been 3 years since I've been in a committed relationship. Since I have been in a What you mean?
You said 3 years you were single, but you weren't engaged. That doesn't mean you weren't engaging with people. You didn't say a person. So that's polyamorous.
Well, I engage with multiple people in intimate ways. If I'm utilizing my brothers here, if I'm utilizing,
you know, it's okay to admit it. We're here.
Right. But if there came a time where someone, you know, if there came a time.
See, to me, this is not problematic at all, right? If people move from monogamy to polyamory. People move from polyamory to monogamy all the time, right? Like,
actually,
there's literally like I
thanks
think
for putting it publicly now.
Oh Jesus, I think that it's Jesus help us. I think that I think that it's literally common practice, right, for people to be having sex with more than one person. That's the fucked up part, hold on a second. Contemporaneously, until they're in a committed relationship, and then they say, "We agree, I'm only having sex with you."
Mm-hmm. And you gotta go through the fire to get there, bro.
But all I'm saying is that's totally fine, and nobody says that's not monogamy, except for the people who do. That's why this shit is confusing.
Exactly.
Listen.
Exactly.
All I'm saying is that I believe.
Hey, what you believe, girl?
You know what I'm saying? I'ma just wade the waters and, you know what I'm saying, allow it to drift me wherever it's gonna drift me. I don't, you know, in good. I gotta be careful when I say that.
Yeah,
I've often been
Yeah.
I've been allowing things to drift me in places, and I ain't been steering the ship or the sailboat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm steering the sailboat and I'm getting in it, but I'm saying that like control of what that looks like for me, I feel like is what I'm relinquishing. Is like this idea of just like, yes, there's someone out there for me that wants to choose me, and that there is a want to, not that you're held to that, but like there is a desire to choose each other and be honest and committed in that choice, you know.
Man, I love Shrek too. You know, man, Shrek is one of my favorite
But
movies.
it doesn't, like you said,
But I
that's
think that
everybody wants to just fuck everybody. Like everybody just wants to fuck. I swear, rules the world. I swear to God.
I don't think that's true. I think there are a lot of people that are in committed monogamous relationships.
No, motherfuckers just can't control their hormones. They just want to be like, oh my God.
I like Shrek. I like Cinderella. I like Sleeping Beauty. Like I love all those.
And
I think there's a lot of people with self control too.
Like, what the fuck? And I'm hoping that one day that is gonna continuously be my point. Is I'm hoping that one day, you know, because I still have faith in that. Whether I'm a polyamorous person and as single, I'm not polyamory when it comes to commitment. Like polyamorous when it comes to commitment. I'm not. Like I'm an investor. I am. Once there is a commitment made, I'm not looking nowhere else. And that means I'm not laying in nobody's. Maybe that's what it is. It's how I
and you
am
get
in my relationships.
You get to define that for yourself.
I'm the type of like, well, how I wouldn't do that. Why would you do that?
Right.
I wouldn't do that to
and
you.
I guess
Why
what I'm
would
saying,
you do that?
I guess what I'm saying is the way for you to be successful with that is to have those honest conversations up front
in the beginning,
so that there can be accountability later, right? Because like,
you can't
sometimes people enter into relationships
and the honeymoon
sideways.
lasts for 3 years.
Hold on, sideways. Or they enter into relationships without having these explicit conversations, and they think everybody's defining these terms the same way. Everybody has the same ideas and the same boundaries, right? But your boundaries are for you. You can't impose your boundaries on somebody else. And you can't understand what is in somebody else's head without having a conversation with them, right? And so like,
and it can't be an IKR conversation.
You can't assume that people are agreeing to something that they have not agreed to.
We gotta do it one more time.
You are now in tune to the Phree Game Podcast.
Okay. Yellow dope.